guys, welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Sophie and I am the owner of a small art and stationery shop on Etsy called Sophie in Somerset. But this is not actually a studio vlog or an art vlog, so if you're a subscriber you might be a bit confused why I'm sat on the floor in my living room. I'm not even sure. I'm filming this intro, but I don't even know if it will make it to YouTube. But obviously, if you're watching that, it has. I've recently spoken in my studio vlogs about wanting to make more book-related products because I've just got into reading again. So to catch you up, if you're not a subscriber, myself and my husband welcomed a little boy home in the summer through the UK adoption process. He's a little 1-year-old boy now. He just turned 1. And since he's been home, ironically, I've had more time for reading. You'd think I'd have less time, right? But as a teenager, I loved reading. I was a try-hard, Team Edward all the way. So those style books. And then I just stopped reading. You know, life gets in the way once you get a job, and I got married. But I never stopped collecting books, as you can see behind me. And I have bookcases upstairs as well. Pretty stationery and pretty books. I still bought them, but I just didn't read them. And since welcoming my little boy home, he has 2 naps a day, and although he's self-soothed, so he sends himself to sleep, he does like you to be in the room whilst he's going off to sleep. So I spend a lot of my time just sat in the chair. I started off by reading magazines, and I thought actually this is a perfect time to start reading. And so much so, in the last couple of months since I've started reading, I've read more books than I have in the last probably 5, I would even say 10 years. I haven't read that many, only, how many have I read? 1, 2, 3, and I'm halfway through another 2. So, you know, 5 books isn't too bad actually, seeing as I haven't been reading for very long. So I was sitting there thinking this evening, my husband's gone out, little boy's in bed. Why don't I start documenting the journey of me falling in love with reading again? Because I think it does tie in lovely with the products that I'm making in my studio vlog. I'm doing a lot of book themes, some kind of tea lover theme, because I do love my tea. And, you know, those kind of curling up with a cup of tea, a good biscuit, and a good book. I mean, isn't that heaven? So it's November the 13th when I'm starting to film this, so I don't know what date it'll be, if it ever made it to YouTube, and what this video would even entail. But I thought if I don't start now, then when will I? So yes, so I keep buying books, but I'm not reading them. So my challenge to myself, I'm making it like a little game, is to go through the books that I already own, slowly work my way through this lovely selection of books, instead of just keep buying new ones. Although having said that, I recently bought 2 that I saw on BookTok, and kind of discover what genre I like reading, because I don't even know what I like reading as an adult. And I thought it'd be fun to document it. So it may be interesting. If you're here just solely for the art vlogs and studio vlogs, please stay subscribed. I don't feel bad about clicking off this video. It's not your usual content. I won't be offended. But if you do enjoy listening about books, I have discovered a lot of the art friends online that I follow also like reading. It seems to go hand in hand, so you may well like this, so please stick with it. Or if you're new here, coming simply because of the book title, welcome. Please subscribe, hang around, because there should be more. And like I said, you might want to go over to my Etsy channel because there is book-related products on there. There we go. Hopefully keeping everyone happy. But most of all, like with my studio vlogs, is to keep me accountable more than anything. So it is November the 13th, and so far this year, it doesn't look like, you see, watch these other people, these booktubers, how many books they've read this year, and it's like, I don't know, 200, 180, 200. I have completed 3 so far. It is still only November, and I'm halfway through 2 more. But I am only doing it usually in 2, maybe 3 pockets of time per day. So it's not too bad. And like I said, I've gone many years without finishing a single book. aside from going through the adoption process, if you've gone through the adoption process or are going through the adoption process, you will know you are asked to read so many books, but that's all on kind of trauma and attachment and child development, so I won't include that here. But anyway, so let me just show you the books that I've read so far, and then I will maybe give you a tour of my bookshelf, give you an idea of what's on there. I won't do the baby books at the bottom. It's a real eclectic mismatch. Like I said, I probably only read maybe 10, probably realistically 10. I'm saying 20% of the books, but more likely 10. I think I'm in denial about how little I've actually read. I will give you a tour, and I don't know what else will be in this video because I haven't figured it out yet. So, first one was the Unmumsy Mum. This is the one that got me back into reading again. It's kind of a must for new mums to read. I thought it was funny. I have joined Goodreads. Is it Goodreads or is it Good Books? You know, the app where you track your reading. I'm a little bit addicted to it at the moment, but I've only just signed up, so I apologise if I got the name wrong. The Unmumsy Mum, and you give star ratings. So this one I gave 4 stars because I really thought it was funny, very accurate. The highs and lows of motherhood. I was reading this chuckling away, sat next to my little boy, screaming in the cot. So there we are. And then I read, oh, this one. This was a present from a friend. It is My Family and Other Animals by Gerald Durrell. I've wanted to read this book for ages. I used to have a copy, then I gave it away, and then my friend gave me a copy, and it was a nice little pocket-sized one. I actually took it on holiday to Cornwall. I think I gave this one, I think this was also a 4-star read. I really, really enjoyed it. I did skip over some of the more naturey bits, but the observations of his family and the hilarious things they got up to, it was great. So that was a good one. And then this one, Mother Hens by Sophie McCartney. Did I buy this because it's pink? Yes, I did. This copy is actually signed by the author. I actually only gave this 3 stars. It was good. It had unique kind of plot twists, and it was funny, but some of it just got a bit too far-fetched. You know, I kind of lost. I think even if it is meant to be, like, obviously it's fiction, it is made up, I think there still has to be a little bit of element of realness, especially when it's set in, you know, the real world. We're not set in an alternative universe. This isn't sci-fi. It has to be a little bit believable, and it just was too unbelievable for me. But it was quite funny, and I do love the cover. It's very aesthetically pleasing. I am one of those people that does the cardinal sin of buying books by the way they look. I am that person, and I'm sorry, and I'm probably going to regret it as I work my way through my bookshelf, because I'm going to be reading books and I'll be like, they're terrible, but they do look lovely. But yeah, this was only 3 stars. And then I'm halfway through the, oh no, 3/3 the way through, 2/3 the way through, 3/3, we'll have finished it then. The Forbidden Notebook by, I'm not even going to attempt to say that person. So it's an Italian translated book, basically about this, I think it's 1950s housewife, 1940s maybe, living in Italy, get my words out, Italy, who buys a notebook, and it kind of changed her perception. It's when gender roles were starting to change and things like that. It is, I really, really love it. At the moment, it's 4 stars. So it's really good. It's not quite a 5-star, but it's definitely a solid 4-star. Yeah, it is. Yeah, highly recommend it, but I will give a full read once I've finished it. Maybe, I don't know. Should I do that? I don't know. I haven't worked out what I'm going to do. But yes, so I'm 2/3 of the way through. And now I've also joined a book club, because my husband said, right, you need something to get out in the evenings. He goes out a couple of times a week, and, you know, or at least once every week, and he said, you know, you need something for you. So I joined a book club. I am the youngest there by at least a decade, maybe 2 decades, but I don't mind, because it challenges me, and again, I want to find out what kind of book genre that would suit me, what I like, and with a book club, it challenges you to read books you wouldn't ordinarily read. Now I don't have so this is the second book from the book club. The first one was The Catcher in the Rye, which is a famous book. I obviously don't have that to show you because we actually get them on loan from the library, which is why it's in this nice shiny cover. So the first one, Catcher in the Rye, I gave that 2 stars, even though it's meant to be a classic. I don't know if a lot of schools have it as part of their kind of GCSE or A levels, that kind of coming of age book. So I don't know if I would have thought differently of it if I was still a teenager, but as a 33-year-old, I didn't find it interesting. I kept waiting for something to happen and it never did. So I gave it 2 stars. It was well written, but I just didn't find it very interesting. This, on the other hand, so this is The Dull Factory by Elizabeth Macneal. I am half the way through it at the moment, which is good because my next book club meeting is on the 22nd of November. It's the 13th now, so which is why I paused on this other book to read this one, because this has to take priority because it has a deadline. This is a 5-star read so far. Unless something goes terribly wrong, it is starting to pick up pace, so it is getting a bit more thriller-ish, but it has a love interest in there, and it's about, there's an artist in there talking about the female protagonist, Irish. She's learning to paint, so obviously as an artist myself, I found that really interesting. Some great characters. It does switch between characters' points of views, which sometimes I struggle with. When it dots around too much, I kind of forget, oh, what did that person say? But this one, the way she writes, yeah, I love it. It works really well. I don't forget what's going on, even though I'm reading it in pocket of time. So my son has 2 naps a day, and me and my husband take it in turns to put him down at night. So I'm only reading snapshots of time, and I haven't forgotten what's going on. In other books, I'm like, where was I again? What was happening? At this, I don't have it. I can't praise it enough, so much so that I've gone on and looked what other books this author does. So, and it's not a genre that I would have picked up. So that's a good thing about a book club. So if you have the opportunity to join a book club, I highly recommend it. That is a 5-star read so far. So I want to try and read a couple more books before the year is out. Like I said, it's the 13th of November now, so I've got a little while. And then next year, I want to start afresh. I'm going to aim for 2 books a month. I would like to exceed that. But if I can do 2 books a month, which I think would be comfortable, because that seems to be the rate that I'm doing at the moment, I'll be happy. But I want to ideally do a bit more. We'll see how it works out. I think Little Man is going to be going down to 1 nap a day, though, so that is going to scupper those plans slightly. But yeah, so I think this is going to be a new thing for my channel and like a new little section. Like I said, I think it goes in well with the art stuff. Forgive me if, like I said, you're a subscriber and this isn't what you signed up for. But I want to give it a go. And if this has made it to YouTube, obviously there is enough footage to make a whole video out of it. Like I said, at the moment, I'm just making this one intro and I don't even know if it will turn into anything. So stick with it, because if there's a video, hopefully it might be worth watching. I can't tell you to subscribe or like it because I don't know if it's any good, because I've only just started myself. But join me on the journey. As you know from my studio vlogs and art vlogs, I'm very transparent, I'm very honest. I'm very open about my feelings and my thoughts on things. So hopefully it will be interesting. And if you're a new mum or just rediscovering reading again through Booktop and Booktube, hopefully it'll be interesting. And yeah, you can make yourself a cup of tea as well, sit down and enjoy the video.
Okay guys, it's now the 23rd of November. I apologise for my voice. It's the start of the winter lurgy. Little man's got it. Hubby's had it. It's inevitable I'm going to get it. But I had my book club last night where we discussed The Doll Factory. It's all finished. And we actually all agreed. Which, if you go to a book club and you agree, you know, that's very, very rare. We loved it for 3/4 of the way through. The last quarter, it felt like, somebody said in the book group, and I agree, it was like she had the deadline for the book looming and she just had to finish it off. There was a scene, maybe 2 scenes of spice. So there is spice in this book, very little. And I think it could have done without it. It didn't need it. But just be aware there is a couple of bit of spice. Little man's in the background if you can hear him. And the ending is a shame. It's not the ending any of us wanted. But we loved the rest of it. We loved the pace. We loved the description of Victorian England. Yeah, so I would still recommend, but just be aware there is that little bit of spice in it and you might not be happy with the ending. But still, I gave it I think I landed on 4.5. I was like 4.5, 4.75. It was going to be a 5-star until, you know, I got to that last quarter. But everyone agreed. So I'm going to return this one to the library today. We're still waiting for the next book to come in. So we've decided on Sarah Winman's The Tin Man, which I'm so excited because it must have been ages ago now that I read When God Was a Rabbit by Sarah Winman. And I was so excited that it was an author I actually knew, because getting back into reading, they were reading all these authors. I hadn't heard of any of them, and I felt a bit stupid, really. But when you don't know much about reading, I feel I'm a proper newbie. But I knew Sarah Winman, so I was like, yes, please. So they're going to order in the Tin Man. So sorry, my camera cut out. I don't know what happened there. So I'm going to give this one back to the library, and I'm probably going to read a book from my shelf indoors. I'll pick one out from my TBR list. Until the Tin Man is ready to pick up from the library, because they have to order it in. So I'm going to take this one back now. I'll pick another book up and we'll get going with that one until the Tin Man is ready. So I'm currently in bed, not feeling very well. You can probably tell by my voice, I haven't really got very much of a voice. My mum is downstairs with little man, looking after him. Granny daycare today while my husband is at work. But I can take solace in my book. I'm already quarter way through it, maybe just over. And I'm really loving it. So this is actually a non-fiction book. I hope you can hear me. My voice is not great. It's a non-fiction book. I kind of picked it up. Cardinal Sin, the cover drew me, and Wintering, it says the power of rest and retreat in difficult times. And it's basically kind of like when you reach like a fallow period in your life, or a period of change, and what that looks like. And I'm finding it really good for me at the moment, because obviously I'm not at work, I'm not doing my day job. I normally work in a dental practice as a dental nurse and treatment coordinator, and I'm on leave from work after welcoming home our little boy. Yes, I'm still running my Etsy small business. Well, I started my small business whilst I've been on leave, but it is a massive transition, and if any of you are mums, you know that transition to becoming a mum is a tricky one, because although you're relishing this period, you are losing your identity slightly. You are now the mum of, rather than just being. So I am the mum of little man rather than just being Sophie. And you are not the priority anymore. Like right now, although my mum has been lovely and come up this morning to let me have a bit of rest, I'll be back to it this afternoon, whether I'm feeling well or not, because he still needs to be looked after. So I'm really enjoying this, and there is a really good part. Ooh, put my water up there before I knock it over. I've dogged so many pages, but it says, it is all very well to survive the abundant months of the spring and summer, but in winter we witness the full glory of nature flourishing in lean times. Plants and animals don't fight the winter. They don't pretend it's not happening and attempt to carry on living the same lives they lived in the summer. They prepare, they adapt, they perform extraordinary acts and metamorphosis to get them through. Winter is a time of withdrawing from the world, maximizing scant resources, carrying out acts of brutal efficiency, and vanishing from sight. But that's where the transformation occurs. Winter is not the death of the life cycle, but its crucible. And I thought that was a beautiful way of summing up wintering. So this book is really good because so it's written by Katherine May, and she has her own kind of story wrapped up in other people's stories, and kind of traditions of winter and how they celebrate those, and recognise them in different countries and cultures. So it's a really well crafted book. She's basically, her husband is poorly, and then she becomes poorly, and it's when she's at home and having to slow down her life basically that she comes to all these kind of epiphanies almost. Yeah, it's a time of transforming and looking at the seasons like our kind of ancestors have done. So it's very interesting. And I'm really, really enjoying it, as you can see. So it's the perfect one for when I'm not feeling great, to kind of lean into that and to slow down as much as I possibly can when you have a baby. So yeah, really, really enjoying it. But of course, as soon as my library book comes in, this will be on hold for the book club read, because that has to always take priority. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of read a bit more today, make the most of this quiet time, and then as soon as that library book comes in, which should be coming in soon, we'll go and grab that book and start that read. Hey guys, so just give you an update, it is now the 26th of November and I've already finished Wintering. I finished the book, read it super quickly. I think partially because I was poorly, so I had some more time to read, and also little man was poorly, so I spent longer sitting in his nursery trying to get him to sleep. So I had a lot of reading time, but I finished, which I'm really super happy about. The Tin Man still hasn't come into the library yet, because it's actually been only a few days since I last talked to you, I think. So I need to pick out another book to start reading before the Tin Man arrives. And I'm thinking, because it needs to be something from the bookshelf to work through my TBR, I am thinking, because I've never read it, this beautiful book, one of the Penguin classics that I've got, A Christmas Carol and Other Christmas Writings. It's a beautiful book. I did buy it because it's beautiful. Again, you already know this by me. It's got a lovely ribbon bookmark. So I won't need to use one of my bookmarks for this one. If you saw me picking out the bookmarks for my previous book, those are all the bookmarks you can get from my Etsy store. Little plug there. But yes, this is A Christmas Carol and Other Christmas Writings by Charles Dickens. And the closest I've come
to experiencing the Christmas Carol is A Muppet Christmas Carol. I've never watched it properly, and I've certainly never read the book. But now we're getting into December, almost at December now, and Christmas decorations will be going up in the next week. So cozy vibes, start reading this one, and then I'll switch to the Tin Man when it comes in, and then we'll go back to this one probably. So I'm aiming to finish this around Christmas, and I'm thinking I might get one of my chunky books to read throughout the Christmas and New Year period. That's the plan. So let's get on with this one. Oh, by the way, The Wintering, it's a non-fiction, so I'm not unsure whether or not to do a star rating or not. But I think it would be about like a four stars. 4 stars. I skimmed through some of like the information on different countries and cultures that didn't necessarily interest me, but I loved her writing on her own personal experiences and like the autobiographical side of things. It's a book that I definitely want to keep on my shelf and go back to kind of like, you know, throughout my life when I go through different seasons. So it's definitely a book I'd go back to and a book I'd recommend. So 4 stars for that one. So yeah, let's get going with the Christmas Carol. Let's get into some cozy wintry vibes, and I will take you with me when I go to get the Tin Man, and we'll start reading that one as well. So it is now the 14th of December. I thought I'd give you a little bit of a reading update. The Tin Man has still not come into the library. I think another book group was reading it, so it hasn't come in. So I've had to start another book because I finished Christmas Carol. The book, the Penguin, I think it's like Penguin Classics book that I was reading, had a Christmas Carol and other Christmas stories in it, but I only read the Christmas Carol. I'm not going to give it a star rating because I feel a bit weird giving a classic book a star rating. And actually, to be honest, if I was going to give a star rating, it'd only be like 2 or 3 stars. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the writing, but I feel bad doing that because it's a classic, and I just maybe think that I'm just not used to that style of writing. So I moved on, and I was hoping it would be a really cozy kind of vibes, and I didn't get that cozy vibe. So I needed a book that would give me cozy vibes because obviously we're getting up to Christmas now. I just wanted to curl up and have like a warm hug from a book. So I went to Midnight Sun by Stephenie Meyer. So this is in the Twilight Saga. The Twilight Saga is my favourite series of books of all time. I've read them again and again, specifically the first book, Twilight, and the third book, Eclipse. They're my favourite ones. I just love everything about Twilight. I'm a massive Twilight fan. I had actually I got Midnight Sun as soon as it came out, but then I only got maybe like a quarter of the way through, and then we had to move house, and then I just never picked it up again, so I've never actually read it. So I'm now on what page am I on? 273, and there is a total of 756 pages. It is a big boy. It's the biggest book I've ever read. So there we are. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it because I know the story. So this is from Edward's perspective. So it's Twilight, but from Edward's perspective, because Twilight is from Bella's perspective. So I know the story. There's not going to be any surprises. I'm loving the writing. And it's just lovely to go back into that kind of world. So it's the cozy read I needed. So I'm hoping to get this done by Christmas, because Christmas is going to be carnage with a baby, and we've got family staying and everything like that. So I'm probably not going to get much reading done. So there's lots of books that I want to start reading in the new year. I gave you a couple of glimpses on my bookshelf. So I want to read the Bridgerton series, because Bridgerton was meant to be coming out on Christmas Day. It's now been delayed till May and June, I think. So I've got plenty of time to read the Bridgerton series. I've never read it, so I don't even know if I'm going to like it or not, but I love Bridgerton on Netflix. So I want to read the series. I want to read Percy Jackson. I've got some other classics on my bookshelf, like Diary of Anne Frank, The Hiding Place by Carrie Ten Boom, things like that. So more autobiographical and things, and historical. Lots of books I want to get to in the new year. So I gave you a couple of glimpses, but I have got 2 books that I managed to sneak in with my Christmas shopping, my Amazon order. I was going to say my husband doesn't know. He doesn't know at the moment, but I'm going to have to get him to edit this video because I'm useless at computer work. So he's going to know when he watches this back for editing. But I snuck these two books in my Christmas order. And it is Checkmate by Ali Hazelwood and If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nowlin. And I know the second one of this comes out at the beginning of next year, so I'd really love to read this to know whether or not I want to buy the sequel. So I saw both of these in the Book Girlies YouTube videos, so Hayley, Destiny and Sarah. This one had mixed reviews. I've never read an Ali Hazelwood book, so this will be new for me, so I really want to give this a go. But Hayley described this as kind of teenage angst similar to Twilight, so I had to buy it. So this will be the first one I go to after Midnight Sun, providing Tin Man isn't here, because I think it'll be good off the back of Twilight, Midnight Sun. And then I'm going to go on to Checkmate. Like I said, it's the first book of Ali Hazelwood that I've read. This has got a lot of mixed reviews. So if I don't like it, I'm not going to write off Ali Hazelwood because people have said that she's an amazing writer. So I'll probably give another book a go. But these are going to be my next two reads. But yes, the main focus is getting Midnight Sun done, ready in time for Christmas. Apologies for the terrible angle, but I am just in my car right now and it's the only way I can prop it up. But I've just been to the library because I finally picked up the Tin Man. Oh, it's now the 22nd of December. Yes, 22nd of December. So I finally got the Tin Man. I'm quite pleased it's quite a thin book because I really want to finish Midnight Sun first before I start Tin Man. I'm 3/4 of the way through Midnight Sun now. It's like a warm hug. Obviously I know the story from Twilight, but it's great to see it from Edward's point of view, and it's like I was going to say double the length of Twilight, but I would probably say triple the length of Twilight. It got a lot more internal monologues, obviously a lot more backstory for the rest of the Cullen family. I'm really enjoying it. It's very nostalgic for me and it's perfect for this time of year. As I said, that we got some family over for Christmas and actually we're going to see some family and friends for New Year, but the period between those two times, you know, when you never know what day of the week it is, and you're in that kind of limbo, Christmas limbo phase, my husband's actually going back to work for a couple of days. So I'm just going to be at home with little man. He's going to have loads of new toys to play with. So I'm envisaging putting some comfy clothes on, laying on the sofa with the Christmas tree lights on, maybe putting on some Harry Potter films in the background. I think the first Harry Potter film, Philosopher's Stone, is the most comforty film, but I might also put on Goblet of Fire because obviously with Robert Pattinson, who played Edward in the Twilight films, playing Cedric Diggory, I know it kind of takes me back to my teenage years, so I might kind of put the Harry Potter films on in the background and curl up and finish Midnight Sun then. And then I'm going to read this one probably as soon as I finish Midnight Sun, which will probably be the new year. Super thin book, so I'm meeting my book club again on the 17th of January, I think, so I'll definitely get this done by then. But also the other clip was I said I wasn't going to buy any more books. I was going to use what's on my bookshelves already. But they had a little table of pre-loved books. Adult paperback was 50p, young adult was 25p. And I picked up some books. They had the kind of Shadowhunter series. So I got some of the Mortal Instruments. Now I do have the first of the Mortal Instruments films. All right, mate. Baby's in the back, by the way. City of Bones, but on the spines, you can see that it makes like the little picture. So I rebought the first one. It was only, well, I thought these ones were young adult, but they classed them as adult, which is fine. It was still 50p. So I bought the first 3. They did have number 5 and 6 as well, but they didn't have number 4. And I've never actually read them before, so I'm not 100% sure whether I'm going to like it. So I just got the first 3. And then I also bought, this one was classed as YA, so I got it for 25p, The Cruel Prince. Now, I actually don't know anything about this, but I remember I saw it, and I remember Hayley Pham mentioning it on her YouTube channel. I can't remember if she actually liked it or not, but I just remembered it, and I saw it, and I thought, for 25p, I'm going to take a punt. So, as well as Tin Man, I've got all these books today. I wasn't expecting that. So I'm gonna have to sneak those past my husband and get them on my bookshelf, and that's more to add to my TBR. I am trying, I'm not putting myself on a book buy and ban, but I kind of am because of finances. I did sell some books on Ziff. It's like a mobile app. If you download it, it's Ziff, and you can just scan the barcodes on the back. So on the back of the books, these like little barcodes, if you scan them, they give you a price. Now, they don't accept all books because they only accepted one of my Philippa Gregory books. I think it was the other Bowlingo. All the other books they didn't want, and they also didn't want things like Mrs. Hinch and stuff like that. But I sold on there some of the hardback books that I read at the start of this. So like the Mother Hens, I think it was called, the first book I read, and that Forbidden Notebook book. I sold both of those. Basically, I sold a whole box of books and I got like £9.37, I think. It's dead easy to do. And actually, I didn't realise, the website World of Books, which is like a second-hand website that you can buy books from, that's where the books go to. I did look on World of Books, actually, side note, to see if I wanted to purchase some books from there. I know, obviously, it's more ethical to buy from there because they're second-hand rather than Amazon or places like that. But they're really expensive, actually, and not actually saving any money. Like I said, I know it's more ethical to do that, but surely there has to be a cost incentive there as well. We are in a cost of living crisis, but so unfortunately I don't think I'm actually going to buy from there. They're great to sell to, and I'll be selling any books that I don't like or I finished reading and don't want to reread again. I'll definitely do that again in the future to get a few quid to put towards buying more books. But unfortunately, if I can't get it in like second hand, I will look in charity shops and things, because obviously that's the best place to get them from. But otherwise, I think I'm gonna have to just buy from Amazon, because it unfortunately is the cheapest option. So the reason I'm saying that is because I'm hoping, every year my husband's grandparents do give us money for Christmas, and me and my husband split it 50-50 and spend it on our individual hobbies. And I've said to him, if I get any money from them this year, I'm going to buy books, because I really want to get Magnolia Parks. And I also, my little boy just put a blanket over his head playing peekaboo, just making sure he's okay. Yeah, he's pulled it off, he hasn't suffocated, he's fine. I really want to buy Magnolia Parks. I really want to buy Divine Rivals. Those two are definitely, and I think Powerless as well. Those three are on my TBR that I really want to buy. All right, mate, we'll go in a second. Those I want to buy. So if I get any money, that's what I'm going to buy. But apart from that, I'm going to really try and just read what's on my bookshelf and not buy any more books until maybe the summer. I'm thinking that, but I'm probably going to break that, because I know a couple of new books are coming out and I really want to pre-order them. Anyway, that's where I am at the moment. I just wanted to share those books that I got. So let's finish off Midnight Sun, read The Tin Man, and I'll probably check in with you again once I've read those 2 books. of January, and I have finally finished these 2 books. This one especially, I loved it, but it was a long slog. It is such a big book. It is, how many words did I say it was? Or how many pages, sorry. 756 pages. Finally finished it. I actually finished this one today, this morning, whilst little man was going down for his morning nap. I did say I was going to finish this one before starting this one, but between Christmas and New Year we went on a little road trip to see my husband's grandparents. I took this one in the car because it's just obviously easier than transporting this one. So I started reading that one then, and I read half of it in one sitting. It was so good. And we were due to go and see our friend the next day, but he was ill. If we had gone in the car again the next day, I think I would have finished it then. But literally only took a couple more days and I finished the whole thing. Obviously it is a smaller book. This one is only... that was an interview at the end. It has a really cool interview at the end with the author, which I really enjoyed. But the story itself is only 195 pages, so a bit of a difference for this one. I love this one though, and I think this has cemented the fact that Sarah Winman is one of my favourite authors now. This is the second book of hers that I read. I read When God Was a Rabbit, and I enjoyed that one, and I love this one as well. I think she just has a talent for writing characters really well. I think I filmed like a little clip of one of the pages in here. It's actually my favourite page, which I've marked it, because when we go to our book club, we have to mark with the little bookmark that one of my book club members made. Mark our favourite page, and I've marked it. It was the description of Ellis's wife, Annie. And it's just, she writes descriptions so well, but more relationships. In When God Was a Rabbit, the main relationship was between a brother and sister. And this one is a relationship between 3 friends, Ellis, Annie, and Michael. At the start of the book, there's also a little bit from Ellis's mum's point of view, Dora. Yes, I loved it. I think I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but some trigger warnings though. It does talk about grief a lot, so if that's a kind of trigger for you, maybe stay away from it. But I think it's wrote so beautifully. There is a tiny bit of spice. It's just, I probably would say 18 plus for that, but it doesn't like take over the story at all. It's just really touching, it's heartwarming. Yeah, I loved it. One of my favourite books, 5 stars by far. And then this one, I mean, if it's going to be Twilight, it's always going to be 5 stars because I just am in love with this universe. I started reading Twilight when I was in my teens. It's been a constant companion for me, a book series that I always go back to. So this is Midnight Sun. This is the first Twilight book, but from Edward's point of view instead of Bella's. I really loved going back to that original story, filling in some of the blanks from obviously Edward's point of view. Really, really enjoyed it, but it is really thick. Did it need to be that thick? Probably not, but I am going to give it 5 stars. Mainly, I am biased though because I just love Twilight and everything to do with it. But I am glad to be done with it. So next one I am moving on to, like I said before, If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nowlin, just because Haley Pham described it as kind of angsty and very similar to Twilight. She is also a Twilight girl, a twihard like me, so I think this is maybe a good one to finish, or to start off with after this one. I'm meeting with my book club next week, I think, so then I'll find out what my next book club read is as well to go alongside this one. But this one, 8th of January, started to read this one. I really hope to power through a couple more books. I want to bring this kind of vlog to an end at some point soon, because I don't know how long it's been. In my mind, I kind of want to do the rest of January and then finish it, and then next time it will be kind of like a spring reading vlog. I'm only going to do these at like every 3 months or so, I think, because obviously this is mainly an art channel. But yeah, I digress. I'm going to read this one next, and I think after that I'm going to go on to Checkmate. You would have seen also that I got some money from my husband's lovely grandparents, and it was enough to buy a load of new books. So I got Magnolia Parks, I got Powerless, I got Book Lovers, and I also got Divine Rivals. So I'll be reading those over the next coming weeks and months as well. So incredibly grateful for getting some new books. So let's start this one, and we'll also see, I'll check in with you again once I've either finished with this one or when I found out what my next book club read is going to be, and I will let you know. So I have just finished Checkmate from Ali Hazelwood. I don't think I checked in with you at the end of this one. I think I just went straight into this one because I needed it, basically. Let me catch you up. So let's start with this one, If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nowlin. I was really excited to read this book, especially off the back of Midnight Sun from the Twilight Saga, because I'd heard it's quite an angsty teen novel. And it is angsty. It could have been such a great book, but I've given it 3 stars. Now, I almost DNF'd this book after about 100 pages. I am glad that I kept with it, just purely for the ending. The last, maybe, I don't even know how many pages, maybe 50 pages, was great. Really good. The pace picked up. Obviously, I'm not going to give any spoilers because if you haven't read this, I don't want to ever give any spoilers on this channel. But although the ending is sad, I thought it was a good ending. And I was thinking about the characters when I wasn't reading the book, which is why it went to a 3 stars rather than just a 2 stars. But although the short chapters did suit my reading style, i.e. I read whilst I'm putting my son to bed a lot of the time, so therefore I don't know how long I'm going to be sat there for. So actually having really long chapters isn't always practically very good for me, because often I have to just stop in the middle of a chapter. So that suited me well, but I didn't feel the writing was that great, and I feel so bad for saying that, because these authors work so hard at writing these books. They put their blood, sweat and tears into it, and I would be heartbroken if I was an author and I had that kind of feedback. But I just didn't think the writing was very good. It could have been such a good story, but yeah, it just wasn't great. It was quite slow. There was lots of information that I didn't feel needed to be in there. It's a shame. This is a real shame. So 3 stars, and when I next do a little box up to send as if to sell the books to go on to the second-hand site, World of Books, this will be on here. So at some point you'll be able to buy my copy, because it will be on there. And this is why I went straight onto this one, because I just needed to pick me up. I was really disappointed with that book. I had high hopes for it, and I actually did pre-order. Before I started reading it, I pre-ordered the second book of this, because this is from Autumn's perspective, and there's one coming out from Finn's perspective. I've cancelled the pre-order because there's no point wasting my money. So this is the first book I've read from Ali Hazelwood, and I basically now want to devour all of her books. Now, I will say this is a young adult book. I believe it's her first young adult book. And I can see why people have a struggle with that kind of rating, because there is spice in it. Now, would I be happy with my young teenager reading this? no. If they were in their late teens, latter end of secondary school even, I wouldn't mind so much, because to be honest, they're going to see and hear worse things on social media and TV. But early teens, I would have a bit of a problem with them reading it. So I don't necessarily think that's a good rating for it. That to the side, I love the storyline. I don't play chess myself, but it didn't stop me from enjoying it. And actually, I can see why this would get people into chess. I love the characters, especially Nolan. I think he's a great male protagonist. Mal, even though she's quite annoying sometimes, you kind of almost want to, like, you know, give her a bit of a shake, like to wake her up to what's going on. I loved their chemistry. I loved the storyline. So I've settled on a 4 stars for this one. I am being stricter with my star rating this year, just simply because now I'm getting more into reading again. I'm starting to understand what makes a good book for me. Obviously, it's all, you know, personal preference, and it's very subjective. So I don't think, you know, if that's your star rating, doesn't mean it's going to be somebody else's star rating. But for me, I understand now what I enjoy in a book and what I don't. The only reason it's 4 and not 5 is because I didn't obsessively think about the characters when I wasn't reading. I look forward to going back to reading it again, but I didn't obsess over it. You know, when you are so involved in a book, A, you can't put it down, and B, when you have put it down, you can't stop thinking about it. I finished this book yesterday, and I've already stopped thinking about it. Like, I know it's a good book, and I would potentially go back to it as well. So I am going to keep this one on my bookshelf, but yeah, I'm not obsessing over it. So it's a 4 stars, but that's still very, very good, and I can't wait for Ali Hazelwood's next book to come out. And I think I will go back and read kind of like The Love Hypothesis and other ones from her. So that brings me on to the book that I started reading yesterday after finishing Checkmate. I started straight away because it's my next book club book read. We got given this at our last book club, so I didn't have to go and get it from the library. She already had it in. And it is a classic. It's a kind of, this isn't a Penguin classic printing, but it is a classic. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. He also did The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, and Huckleberry does feature in here as a side character, although I haven't got to him yet. I have started reading it yesterday, and I am now on page 27. I feel this is going to take me a long time to read. I'm not going to DNF it because it is a book club read, so I do like to finish all of my book club reads. Would I have chosen this? No. So Mark Twain lived from 1835 to 1910. So that kind of gives you an idea of the writing style. And I do struggle with oldie worldy language and things. It does slow me down when I'm reading. It either slows me down or I end up just skimming over stuff. So we'll see how this goes. I may be pleasantly surprised. I'm trying to keep an open mind. But basically, this will be the book that ends, well, it'll end January, it'll probably go into February. So I am going to be drawing this vlog to a close here, just simply because I don't know, I think it's going to be quite long, even though it doesn't feel like I've just been filming clips here and there. I think once I knit it all together, it will be quite long. I say me, it'll be my husband, my lovely, lovely husband who edits my videos. But I just wanted to jump on and say about those other ones. And also, I will be doing another book vlog of this. It won't be every month, but maybe every quarter I'll do a roundup of what I read. It depends how fast I get through them. But basically, I've set myself a little challenge. So the reason I want to get this done as soon as possible is because I've set myself a Lent challenge now. So I'm a Christian. Lent starts on Valentine's Day this year because Easter's quite early. So Lent is the 46 days running up to Easter. So it starts on February the 14th this year. And I have set myself a challenge. So I'm actually going to be going through this little Lent course, which is based on the writings of C.S. Lewis. If you didn't know, C.S. Lewis, who is famous for writing the Chronicles of Narnia, was a Christian. And it's called Not a Tame Lion. And it is the Lent course based on the writings of C.S. Lewis. And it goes through the Chronicles of Narnia and how it links to the Gospel of Jesus Christ. So I'm doing this Lent course. So because I'm doing this, and there's readings to do each day, I have set myself the crazy challenge, and my husband thinks I'm mad, and I probably am, of reading all 7 Narnia books in Lent. So over 46 days, I'm going to try and read 7 books. Now, although they look quite thin in this little box set that I've got, let me try and get it out. My 18-month-old has butchered this box. You can see all the chew marks on it. Honestly, he is feral. Don't know if I can get one of the books out now. Yeah, I have. Okay, so Lion, Witch and their Wardrobe. Although they're quite thin, the writer's not too small, but how long is this book? The first book. It is 171 pages. So it's still a decent length. But yes, my challenge is to try and get through all 7 books by the end of Lent. So I will be charting that progress in my next vlog. I will also catch up with you what I thought of Mark Twain's book. So I will do that in the next vlog. I'll cover me trying to read the Chronicles of Narnia and my thoughts on those. That will all be in the next book vlog, and depending on how long that takes me and how it goes, there might be some other books in there. I have got, actually, there will be, because I've ordered some pre-orders on Amazon, and I believe they're coming at the start of February. I think I've got Ali Hazelwood's next book in there, and I think, although I haven't read the first book yet, I've got the sequel to Divine Rivals coming, I believe. I will show you the book haul in the next video, so please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out. Also, by the time this video comes out, I will have just done my Valentine's shop update on my Etsy store, which I'll link down below. And I've done a reading tropes bookmark in there. Yeah, there's going to be lots of book produce coming out. There's more book kind of related fan stuff in the spring and summer updates. So please also go and check that out, because I think you'll enjoy it if you're a book lover like me. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for sticking with it if this isn't your normal type of thing. You just follow my art vlogs. But I am going to bring it to a close here, so I don't know how long it is. So I apologise if it's long, and if it's short, I also apologise because I'm English and I apologise for everything. But thank you. I'll see you in the next one. God bless. Love you. Bye.